The vet, what up? What's going on, Gio? I see you. Lissa, Cats, all right. Sorry about the technical difficulty. Lexi, Duchess, Daphne, what up? What up? Love times 3, what up? So, we were just talking about, again, being in a relationship with somebody who's a dead weight. You got to cut them loose. You got to let them loose. Now, you may say to yourself, you know what? Why is this person still in my life? Why am I still in a relationship with this person? Perhaps this person was very loyal to you, and they were very instrumental in supporting you at some point in time. I totally understand. If this person, however, is able-bodied, able-minded, but does not have the desire, the will to better themselves, to better your whole situation, and at some point, basically, they're draining your energy, then you have to make a tough decision. All right. So if you're just now tuning in, if you're just now joining me again, I apologize for the technical difficulties, but we're back with Wednesdays with Wes. It's 9:38, so we got 22 good minutes left of talking about all things relationship. If this is the first time joining me, what we do is we talk about all things relationships. So please post your question. If you want to go ahead and request yourself to go live with me and ask the question in person, feel free to do that, all right? I would love to have you as a little brief guest to ask your question in person, but if not, you can feel free to just type in right now whatever your question is, and we talk about all things relationship here, all right? What's going on, Michelle Snow? I'm going to reach out to you, all right? Congratulations on all that you're doing there. Big Man Culture, what's going on, Big Mike Moss, all right? Metro Home Buyers, what's going on? I see you. Love and Basketball, thanks for joining me. And Mrs. Green and everybody else, thank you for joining us again. So, again, we're talking about all things relationship. And I would like to hear from you in terms of what some of your questions are as it relates to relationships. The question that I answered, the last question that I answered was in regards to, why do men not participate or support in the same way or same fashion as women? And again, if you're experiencing that, as I mentioned, you need to, think about a way to transition out of a relationship that's draining you. And again, I understand there are temporary reasons why we may, keep that person in our life. But at the end of the day, if a person is like-minded at one point and now they're no-minded at this point, well, you got to go ahead and make a decision. All right. Love and Basketball says, as a relationship expert, is it hard for you to be in a relationship? The answer is yes. It can be hard because, being in a space where when you communicate, often it can be seen, oh, here you go preaching again, or you supposed to know everything about relationships. It's very hard sometimes to just express yourself and to be received as just you talking, as opposed to sounding like, another, excerpt from a book or a chapter or something to that effect. So, it's just the same way as anyone else. If you're a subject matter expert in a particular area, when you start to talk, people tend to look at you more as that entity as opposed to just looking like, just being an individual. So it can be tough. Also, if you don't be careful, you can be too critical as well. You can be very critical. It's the same as if you were a chef and you go into a different restaurant and all of a sudden you're tasting, you're making sure it's prepared a certain kind of way and all that other good stuff, and you remove yourself from just being human and having a great experience. So that can also be the case as well. So does anyone else have any questions? I hope I answered yours, Love and Basketball. Beauty and the Peacock, what's going on? All right, Juliana, I see you. All right. Miss Jessie, all right. The Vet, I see you, Counselor. So any other questions? I'm all ears, all right? Before I go to this trusty bag of random and anonymous questions, I want to give you guys a chance. Going once, going twice. All right, so let's go to this bag and see what we have. How long should you remain in the dating phase when can or should you move into courting? Well, there isn't a particular period of time. When you're in a relationship, the number one thing you need to do, or when you're dating, you need to set the rules, period. Some people may date for a couple of weeks. Others may date for months. It really depends on where you are. So the people that are dating, they need to understand that what season they're in. So you can actually date for 6 months, and it's not crazy, it's not odd. You may have just come out of a relationship. What about the person that you're dating if they just came out of a relationship as well? So that can be, a serious factor. So talk to each other, define what this dating phase is, and then go from there. That's the best thing that I would tell you to do. As far as going into courting, you want to just be very transparent and make sure that at the end of the day, you define what courting is as well. Because if you don't know, dating is when you can date one individual and then you can date, a couple of others in the course of a week or a month or whatever. And courting is when you really actually are more intentional and deliberate about dating a specific individual and making sure that, you're very intentional about your desire to really grow that relationship and to be something more, committed, monogamous, that type of thing. All right. Lexi says, being an expert, what key points let you know when you found a nice person worth keeping around? Well, a couple of things. When you find someone worth keeping around, some of the things you want to take inventory of is, how you communicate with that person. Are you both communicating on the same wavelength in terms of, how you prefer to talk, how often you like to talk, the medium that you use to communicate. Also, how easy it is to communicate with one another. If it seems like you have to be so strategic about how you communicate with someone, perhaps you need to check that. The other thing is how much fun you're having. Are you able to laugh? Are you able to have a good time? You should be able to laugh and bust it up with this person, because the reality is you don't have a relationship if you don't have a friendship first. And so when I'm thinking about, okay, a nice person that is worth keeping around, I'm thinking about someone that can be a good friend first. Someone that, is going to understand me, and someone that I can enjoy being around. I can laugh, I can communicate, and it's not a hard thing to do. And if I do find it hard to communicate with that person, then guess what? I don't think that person and I should stick around. However, if it's work related, right, then that's different. But in your personal life, that's what you got to do. You got to do what works for you, all right? And how that person makes you feel, how you feel when you think about that person. All those are great aspects of, that contribute to whether or not that person should stick around, all right? So what's going on? Be Simply Beautiful, I see you. Built to Last. Since I am married, no, I'm not married. That's funny. What advice can you give a new couple to make sure things don't get stale quickly? So number one, I'm not married, but what I can do is I can tell you that, for a new couple, to make sure that things don't get stale quickly, the first thing you need to do is you need to make sure that you're checking in. You got to make sure that at the end of the day, you remember something. I'm sure you've heard this before. What it takes to get that person is going to take that and more to keep that person. So keep your energy up, all right? Keep your creativity up. Keep having fun. Keep communicating, okay? Keep building together and keep getting intimate. And I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about getting more vulnerable, more transparent, and more deep in terms of your, how you love on each other, the faith that you build together, the foundation that you build, because that's the true level of intimacy that we're talking about. When you go there, it's harder to just have someone else enter into that relationship and pull things apart. Also, when you're putting in that kind of energy, because you've heard this also before, the relationship is work. So it's going to take some work. It's going to take some energy. And if you can do that, then I'm pretty sure you'll be at the top. Coach Adrian, thanks for joining us. I appreciate that. Lexi, what up? Friendships first. That's right. All right, Devet, do you become friends before or after dating? No, you should become friends, during dating, okay? During dating, you should become friends. So it's not before or after. It's actually during dating. So dating is just getting to know somebody. And just the same way that when you're dating, you're getting to know someone, at some point you start to get a certain kind of vibe where you're like, you know what? I like this person. I enjoy their energy. I enjoy their time. I enjoy being around them, right? And then you start thinking about them a little bit more, perhaps even pushing replay on past conversations and that type of thing. You say, you know what? I want to see them some more. And then you say, you know what? I want to see them some more without the distractions. And then you've graduated, to the courting period or stage of that relationship. But you should definitely be in a space where you're considering them as a friend. The less that you are, jumping straight into, dating this person as your potential significant other versus, considering friendship, well, the more you're going to be strategic in terms of how you communicate. And when you are dating someone or in a serious relationship with someone, but you're not necessarily their friend, well, the problem is that you leave an opportunity for a lot of other people to occupy that same space of friendship. All right? I hear you, Lydia. 15 minutes was now 13 minutes. I got you. All right, Spooky Gang, thanks for joining us. Hot Face says, I've been out of the game for some time, and I met a guy, and he's very nice, but my gut feeling tells me something is not, what he said, or something he said is not, I guess, what he says he is, and he's not keeping 100 with you. Am I just overreacting? I don't think you should, consider that overreacting. You should follow your guts to some extent. However, to the extent that you follow it is the part that I'm going to speak on, right? Does that mean that you leave him, that you go about your business? No. It just means that you're paying more attention. Whatever that thing is, you got to now pray for some discernment, so to speak. The thing that he said or did, is it a trigger from something else that you've experienced in prior relationships? Or is it in fact just something that's not lining up? It doesn't seem to be consistent, and now you're concerned. You can keep your concern. I wouldn't necessarily kick him to the curb just yet. But at some point, if you identify a trend, right, just be open-minded. Because remember, if you're not open-minded and you're set on believing that he's not truthful or not keeping it 100, well, then the information you process will be just that. It'll be information to support your negative assertions about it. Be open-minded enough to see the positive and the negative. Do your best to function in that space. And then at some point, if there is a trend, well, then you'll know it and you'll know what to do as a result of that, all right? Just Jackie, thanks for joining us, all right? The Love and Basketball says, quick question. When is your next event in the tri-state area? I'm talking with my team now about it. I wanted to do something before the end of the year. It's like a pop-up kind of thing to say, thank you for a great year of great programming, great events. My team is like, I don't know, they're a little tired, they're a little burnt out, they want some rest. So I'm not exactly sure. But what I do know for sure is that we'll definitely be around in February. We're going to do an announcement, and it's going to be off the chain, but I'm going to keep it really close to the vest while I work out the details, all right? But, my team right now, they're even behind the camera, making faces like, oh, whatever. They're staring me down with dagger. It's all good. Anyway, but we will reach out and promote, and I look forward to seeing you at the next event, all right? Oh, my God. My team, they're just frowning. They don't like, anyway, I'm not going to mess with them anymore. But, so you're welcome, Hot Face. I see you. Brandy B, what's going on? All right. Love and Basketball, yeah. Off the chain. Facts, it is. Any events in Miami? As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out, to Annette in Florida, and we are planning to come down that way. So, I have some meetings that I'll be doing actually. One in December and one also in January. So we're going to be coordinating some things, and I'm looking forward to coming down that way. So yes, 2020 we will be down there in the Florida area. I'm not exactly sure if we're going to be in Miami or not, but I'll figure it out. All right, but it's coming. Ms. G3, Ujima hopes to bring you to DC in February for Black Love Month. Okay, so that's right. We talked about that when we did the fantasy one here in Philadelphia. So I'm looking forward to that. That's right. We're supposed to be on campus if my memory serves me correctly. So please, let's talk early next week about getting some of those details and logistics ironed out so that we can represent in DC. We love DC. We've been there before, but we're looking forward to this larger audience that you guys promised us. All right. So that's DC and that's Florida. We got already locked down. I know we're coming back to Atlanta. And, of course, Philly, this is home, so we're always doing it. Lissa, you said Houston. Shout out to my boy Mike Taylor. Mike Taylor has been talking to a couple of sponsors. So yes, Houston is a possibility. As soon as we, tweak some things, it's also a possibility that we'll be down there. But it's looking good. Last conversation I had with him was early October, and it's looking good for Houston as well. So thank you guys for reminding me. This is crazy, but next year is going to be bananas in terms of the tour situation. All right? Let's talk love and life. I see you back on site. Thanks, I appreciate that. Jam Down and Denise, what's going on? All right? So we got just a couple of minutes left. I'd like to hear from you. Any more questions or comments? We've covered a bunch of things, but I'm looking forward to making sure that we cover all your questions or comments. If you are too shy, shoot us a quick message in the DM, and we'll be sure to make sure that we answer your question as quickly as we possibly can. If not, if there's no questions right now, what I'll do is I will go to this bag and pull another question out. All right. I just started dating, and the guy I'm seeing keeps offering to cook for me rather than take me out. Should I be concerned, or is this a good thing? I think we answered this question. So let me just go back in this bag, all right? And see what we got here, all right? But anyway, on this topic, since I asked the question, I think you should go ahead and think about enjoying the meal. But the reality is that you got to know what his intentions are, and also more importantly, is he his offer related to what you guys have talked about in terms of things that you like to do in a dating situation. Also, how long have you known him? All those types of things you need to think about. Here's this next one. If a man is unfaithful in his current relationship, will he be unfaithful in his next? There's a high probability he will. But here's the thing here's a caveat to that. You need to ask him, where is he at? What was the context of it? But the reality is that in most cases, if a guy is unfaithful in his current relationship, he will be unfaithful in his next one. The other, I guess, change to that would be that, depending on, what has he learned from his current relationship, that he's in. If there's anything he learned, perhaps there's something that he may actually change about his attitude, his discipline, and things of that nature, or his ability to be really more honest about the relationship and step out of it before getting into another situation that he appears to be in currently. So just think about that. But what I would do is, if you're dealing with somebody in that space, I would back up. I would let that person, do what they're doing and not be a part of that. Because again, even coming out of that, he needs some time to heal. He's going to need some time to, get to know himself, learn from it. And you don't want to be a part of that rebounding situation. All right. All right. DJ 007, what's going on, man? We missed you in Atlanta, homie. But it's all good. So, Love That 46, you said you made a comment, but it was missed. What was your comment? Did I miss your comment? I don't see it, but I don't see it. But if you have that, if you remember it, can you just go ahead and retype it so that I can make sure that I address it, all right? But other than that, I have a couple minutes left, so I can go back into my trusty bag and ask another question. Oh, hold on. The comment, I see it now, so my producer gave me another phone. It says, I always meet men who work a lot. 2 full-time jobs, overtime, great guys, but not present. They want to compensate with gifts for their absence. Gifts are nice, but not as important as their presence. True. You're right about that. You got to know your love language. And for some people, love languages are gifts. And they would be perfectly happy with that situation and say, you know what? Hey, I know you're trying to secure the bag, and I know you got plans and things of that nature. So thanks for this nice gift. Other people are saying, you know what? Money is just money. Gifts and all this material stuff is just that. I like quality time, right? And you are a person that appears to, really appreciate quality time over gifts, and hopefully in your journey, you'll identify someone that also is in that same space that says, you know what? Maybe I don't need to make this much money. Perhaps just making a certain amount of money along with some really good quality time, can actually be the richness that my life, really. So, if there's any more comments, let me know. We got 3 minutes left. All right, Tamara Dawn, what's going on? But if there's any other questions, go ahead, shoot your shot real quick. All right. If not, going once, twice. I think I'm done. Look. You see that?
Please.
There's no more. No more questions. So, any more questions or comments?
You dropped it.
No, I read that one.
Kids. It was about kids.
I read that one about the kids. How soon is too soon to bring my mate around my kids? You read, I think I answered that last week. We talked about, making sure that you don't do that too soon. You got to make sure that your the status of your relationship is something that's very serious before you do that. And more importantly, I think you should have a conversation with your, the mother or father of your child. I think you should have a mature conversation about the fact that you're about to introduce someone to your child or children, so that you try to avoid as best as possible, the crazy kind of reaction from the significant other. And I already know this sounds like a after school special where things are supposed to be all nice and peace after that. The reality is that most cases your significant other may be in a different space than you, and it can turn into something else. However, surprises, I think, actually usually in this situation usually blow up. So heads up is the best way to go about it. And also be very clear that the person that you're introducing understands where you are in a relationship. So while they may think that, they're just meeting the kids, to you, you may say, you know what, this actually means that we're going to a place where more than likely we're talking about a permanent situation, right? Marriage, engagement, something to that effect, all right? So, Camden Monarchs, I see you. Thanks for repping us. No problem at all. I appreciate you guys joining. That's a big deal. So if you don't know about the Camden Monarchs, they are a new team in Camden, New Jersey. They're playing as part of the ABA League, I believe, and they have a game that actually starts. I believe it's November 2nd. I think is their first game. So make sure that you look them up. All right, check on that. Click on their name right there, the Camden Monarchs, and you should be able to get more information about the league, their schedule. Just started up, and I'm really hype about them because they are actually a good investment in Camden, right? It's not just about like real estate or something, but they're actually investing in people in the Camden space and helping to revitalize that area. So that's dope. As for everybody else, listen, it's 9:59. I got a minute left. I want to say to you, thank you very much for joining Wednesdays with Wes. I hope it was you got something out of it. But please make sure that you tell a friend. So share the live, share the page, the relationship script. Share it with some people that don't know about it. Please, spread the word. Good vibes, good information, and hopefully you got something out of it. All right. I'll see you next week, Wednesday at 9:00 for another episode of Wednesdays with Wes. I'm Donovan Hitchmaster West, and it's been a pleasure serving you. All right, until next time.